I'm Neil, and this is A Cup of Hope, the show where I drink a cup of coffee and talk to people about some of the messy and difficult areas of life, areas where all of us need some more hope. Let's do it. Hey everybody, I'm glad that you're here again this Thursday night. And I gotta tell you, I consider it a privilege to be able to share this time with you and for us to all just learn and grow together and to experience some hope in the midst of struggles. Tonight's conversation, I think, is really just a tough one, but a really important one. There is probably nothing more difficult to bear in this life than sickness, pain, struggle, and suffering in our bodies. And to understand also how in the world to have faith in a loving God throughout that. So I don't have any cute quips or stories tonight to kick us off. I just want to introduce you to Nick and Elizabeth Graham for our conversation about their journey through sickness, faith, and suffering. Here it is. Oh, one other thing before we start. Everybody who shares this show is going to get their name put in a draw for a custom Nick Graham of Nakiwik, New Brunswick pen. Boom. So do it up, click share, and at the end of tonight's show, if you will share it, your name will go in a draw that I'm going to do at the end of tonight's show. Anyway, here we go. So here we are. These are my good friends, Nick, and I always say Beth, but Nick says he prefers Elizabeth. So this is Nick and Elizabeth Graham. Many of you would know them. These are some friends of mine that I went to college with. And we're here to chat tonight a little bit about hope for those who are suffering. Just to chat about faith and suffering and how we understand that. Nick and Elizabeth, I almost said Beth again, whatever. Would you guys just tell people about yourselves so they can know you a little bit more, a little bit of your just interesting little factoids about your life. We'll jump into the big story stuff after this, but tell us who you are.
Go ahead.
I'm a mom to two girls, two teenage girls, a wife, and a teacher. I work at River Valley Christian Academy. I'm going into my 10th year there.
I am...
Cue Nick.
Yes, so I was going to say I'm the boss, but we all know that's not true.
We do.
So, my name's Nick, and I am trying to figure out who I am, to be honest. This has kind of been a wilderness experience for us. But for the last 14, 15, 16 years, I've been a lead pastor or solo pastor. But now I'm just kind of home playing around.
Tell us about your hobbies.
Well, I'm into woodworking right now pretty heavily. I
Yep.
make some really nice pens. At least I think they're nice. If you want one, let me know.
Free advertising.
They're quite nice.
You're really milking this, aren't you? Good work. Nice job.
Trying.
They are nice, I've seen them.
Yeah, and a few other wood products and things like that. But just whatever I decide to make, that's what happens. And
With your wife's help.
yes, I was going to add that. But
There you go.
yeah. So I like to read and watch sports and all the kinds of other stuff like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm pretty heavily into woodworking right now.
Yeah. And we were just chatting before we started. Beth is in her spare time, whatever that is, also teaches piano here in Nakiwik. Anyway, we're here to talk about hope, but I think we don't really know how to talk about hope until we're without it sometimes, maybe. I don't know how you summarize your story in a couple minutes, but tell people a little bit about the journey that you guys have been on for years now, and all that that's sort of entailed. And let's just chat about it if you're, well, I know you're cool with it because you agreed to do it.
Yeah.
Tell us a little story.
I think I need to say that I've lost much of my memory, so if I forget, it's not because I just don't remember, and so Beth will have to fill in for me. But I started feeling unwell back in 2009, I think, when I was pastoring in Havelock. I remember trying to write sermons on Thursdays and just being so tired all the time. And it just kind of pushed through until I got to Maple Ridge, and it became even worse. And so I went to the doctor, and he ordered a round of blood tests and things like this. I think that was 2010 or 11 or something
The
like
fall of 2010.
that. And so that blood test came back, and a few more reports came in, and I think if I remember, one thing led to another, and we were...
By spring of 2011, you had your first ERCP, liver biopsy, something like that.
And then at that point, a doctor, one of several I've had, to be honest, told us that in 5 or 10 years,
Maybe 20.
20 years, I would need a liver transplant. That was about 2012 or so, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And little did I know that 2015, I'd have my first transplant. And then 6 months later, I'd have my second transplant. And then
6 months.
I've been waiting for my third transplant since February of 2018.
Yeah.
17.
2017. February 2017.
Yeah, so I've technically gone through 3 livers, and I'm waiting for number 4.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you did start with one initially.
I did.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he throws people when he says that.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. So, when you hear news like that, what did you picture? Like the first, in 2010, 2011, when they started talking about this, what did you think that was going to look like?
We had a while.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a while. We'll deal with it when it comes. He said 5, 10, 15 years. You know, we're
And it
we're
was
good.
we were just I thought getting in the groove, pastoring Maple Ridge. Thought we were getting in the groove. We were growing. Exciting things were happening, and I thought
Married about 10 years ish.
we were married in 2002.
02.
So yeah, whatever that equals
8
out
years,
to be.
9 years.
Yeah. Couple small kids.
Yeah. So we didn't really know what that all entailed, other than I started getting sicker and sicker, and then things went worse.
November 2013 was his first hospital admission, and that was when they adamantly started talking about sending us to Halifax for more treatment and different procedures, which you did go, and that's when it really got serious.
And really scary.
Yeah.
Uh,
ICU, you know, a couple of times
Mm-hmm.
in the next year, very sick, just a whole new ballpark of terminology and, you know, things to learn, and
Right.
a big learning curve.
Do they have any idea what caused liver failure?
so it hasn't actually, none of them have been liver failure, which is a good thing, I guess, if there's a small silver lining. My original liver, as you know, I have Crohn's disease as well.
Right.
Depending on what doctor you believe or what they had for pizza the night before they saw me, it could be related to Crohn's disease,
Okay.
or it's some other disease that I've had called primary sclerosing cholangitis, and that is
That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
It is. It took us a while to actually figure out how to say it.
It's
but,
PSC for short.
Surprised anybody who can
Yeah.
spell that in the comments.
Yeah, that was the second thing to learn.
So basically what that is a normal person's biliary tree inside is supposed to look like an apple tree with branches growing everywhere. And the bile would-
Uniform and not narrow. Like,
The bile would drain correctly while mine backs up because of PSC, and thus the bile would poison my liver and make it not work correctly. So that was the original cause for the transplant. And I don't know if I've had Crohn's most of my life, but I don't know if PSC just kicked in one day, or
Mhm.
I have no idea. It's above my pay grade, I guess.
Mm. So what does, like, now, I guess in 2020, what does a quote unquote normal day look like for both of you? Whoever wants to go first, like,
I can only speak for me, of course.
that's certainly skipping over a lot of events
Yeah.
that I'm sure you could tell us about, and we'll probably dip and dive back and forth, but what's
Sure. So it all depends on really the night before. If I get any sleep at all, then the day's sometimes okay, and other times the day's a complete wash. I'm lucky to get up and get a shower and then come sit in the chair and grumble for the day. And other times I'm great. I can go all day. When I have good days, I can usually go about 3 days in a row before I hit a wall for about 2 or 3 days, and then I'm out.
Yeah.
I know for Beth, she's told me all the time that she's constantly wondering how I'm doing when I'm getting sick, because it comes on super quick. Literally.
the last few times have come on within a matter of 2 hours. He could be fine in the morning, and then he's sick and headed to the
So
hospital.
that's like a fever or nausea that just nails you, or what?
Fever and chills, yeah.
Chills.
Fever and chills and lower back hurts, and my head starts swimming and all that.
That's infection that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
taken over,
Yeah.
and it's that quick.
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
So and you teach every day.
I do. A normal day is getting up and getting out the door and making sure the girls are good to go.
And they're in high school this year?
They're in high school, yeah. Did a little bit different year for them. Different routine to try to get used to. But yeah, go to school, come home, appointments, errands, groceries, any running that needs done. So, and watching for signs with him
Mhm.
and trying to juggle, is he having a good day? Can he come? Can he run one of these errands for me?
Right.
Or is it a day that I can't count on him at all?
Right.
So,
It's been really difficult because most of the things that I would like to help out around with the house, such as mowing the lawn or doing the driveway or things like that, I simply can't do. Either I don't have the stamina or I can't lift anything.
Mhm.
So that's kind of been a little kick to the seat of the pants, to
Sure.
be honest. Stuff that
Yeah.
typically is a man's job to do, I can't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So that's been hard to adjust, just to let her do that.
Mhm.
It's been a tough pill to swallow.
So probably the big question that we could probably talk about for hours is like, how has this affected your walk with God? What's your understanding of faith, and what role does that play in your life now? Is it any different than before? Is it much the same? Can you talk about that for a little bit from both your perspectives?
You want to go first?
I don't know how to start. I guess through it all, it's been difficult, but he's always provided. There have been times, all these trips to Halifax, I have to stay somewhere. We have to eat out all the time. We do, he doesn't. He gets his meals in bed for
Yeah.
free
rations.
thanks to Medicare, but and we've had, not recently, thank goodness, but we've had a lot of trips to Halifax, a lot of time spent there.
Mhm.
I've had to miss work where I don't draw a paycheck. He's had to go on disability, which, it's a fixed income. For
Right.
a growing family, it's a fixed income. But through all that, we've we've never really been in want or need. It's always come through just as we think we're going to need it. Or somebody's been there to, you know, maybe scoop out the end of the driveway, or, you know, invite us out for a meal because we just need to get out.
Right.
Those things have always come through just as we needed them. Sometimes even when we didn't even realize we needed them. And I've been able to remind the girls of that, because it's not just the two of us going through this journey. Our girls haven't really had the upbringing that we had wished for them.
Sure.
They've had to deal with this. They've had to deal with life and death, literally.
Yeah.
And we haven't hid anything from them. When they were younger, we kind of tried to shelter them from some of the stuff. But as they're young ladies now, they're part of the family. We go through this together as a family.
Yeah.
And when they're having a bad day, I'll say, look what God did back here. Look how, that was provided for us.
Yeah.
Or somebody was there. So that part of it has been a growing experience. When you just want to be able to do the things yourself and you realize, like, I just can't. And then showing them that and trying to teach them through that, and trying to teach them that we still have hope through that. That's been, because even before we left the ministry, they were just getting to this point where, Emma had her job helping out with PowerPoint and was really feeling a part of being part of the ministry as a family, not just him, right?
Yeah.
Erica was the timekeeper.
Yes.
As most pastors know.
Yes, she is.
but she was also starting to come into her own too,
Yeah.
helping with different things. And for us to lose that all of a sudden was very hard for all of us.
Yeah.
I think I know he mourned it the most, but we all mourned it too. For us to try to keep the faith through that, and that God's still with us even though things are changing. This is not what we're used to. It's been interesting.
I'd say the biggest thing for me would be that I spent most of my pastoral ministry telling folks to trust in the Lord. And then, wham, like, our lives have completely changed.
Yeah.
How would that look if I didn't do what I practiced, what I preached all those years?
Yeah.
That's kind of the biggest thing.
Yeah. No pressure.
No.
Whatsoever.
It's almost like more pressure now that you're out of ministry.
Yeah.
To say, did he really
Mean
believe what he said?
Yeah.
And did he mean it?
Yeah. And I'm not weird in the way that think that God only, that God can be put in a box. I don't think that at all. God's God, he can do whatever he wants to do. But I think the name of Jesus gets hurt when I don't practice what I preach type
Yeah.
idea. So
Yeah.
that's been the biggest thing. And it's forced me to do I really trust in the Lord? And sometimes my answer would be no, I don't, because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm stuck in the wilderness, as I've said before. And it's been 8 years or 9 years or so that we've been stuck in the wilderness.
Full time.
Full time.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of tired of it. But I read the scripture, and our pastor at Corbett Church reminded me this past week that Abraham had to wait 25 years before God answered his prayer. So I'm just wanted to,
Well, that's stupid.
yeah.
Don't want to hear that, Vino.
No, I
No.
don't.
No.
But it is true. I mean, and
Totally true.
yeah. You think about wilderness too, and I'm thinking immediately of, the Israelites wandering for 40 years.
Yeah.
But that was their own disobedience that did that.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't willful and chosen.
Yeah.
It's not like you went out and damaged your liver
Yeah.
On purpose.
on purpose.
Yeah. And I did read this morning in Exodus that God didn't send the Israelites the easiest way through Egypt, because they would grumble and complain and kind of wonder. It just makes my mind wonder what the Lord is doing.
Yeah.
I really have no idea. I think none of us really have any idea. It's by faith, I guess.
Are there scriptures and like promises that have stood out to you over this time and that you've that have been sort of like bedrock for you and grounded you? What kind of stuff have you held on to that's kept hope alive, I guess, over these last 9 or 10 years?
John 11:35, Jesus wept. So,
And so will I.
sir, yeah, yeah, short and sweet. I guess it keeps coming back to the verse in Proverbs chapter 3, trust in the Lord with all your heart. And lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. As Beth said a while ago, we can look back today seeing all the Lord has brought us through till right now, but we see that in rearview mirror. We never see that going forward. We have no idea what we're doing. Still have no idea what we're doing. I don't know. And don't know what's coming next. So yeah, it's kind of a trust fall type issue. You have to trust.
Yeah.
And then as you trust, I think God lets you take one more step in faith.
Mm-hmm.
I've said before, the line between faith and foolishness is pretty marred sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You, Beth, anything that comes to your mind that...
The one verse that probably sticks out is I lift up my eyes to the hills, where does my help come from? Because there's been times where I've had to carry a lot of the weight, if not all of it, and I just don't know what to do. I've had to make some pretty big decisions on my own.
Yeah.
Even the little decisions day by day, you get tired of making them with knowing, this has been good lately. He's been able to help with that. But there's times like it's me looking after the girls and making the decisions.
Right.
But also throughout the journey, being involved with music and stuff at every aspect or every different part of the journey, there's always been one worship song that at that current point I can't get through. The wording of it, it just touches, it's too close to home.
Yeah. Can you remember some of them?
Well, when we first started this, what was one with, there's something that would take courage. There was a new one that we were doing back 7 or 8 years ago that as we were getting ready to have to leave the church, that I could never get through.
So over there on the wall, we've got our
Beulah pictures.
Gotcha. Oh, all of them, yeah. Yeah.
When I was in the intensive care, the second transplant, and I wasn't looking very well, I believe it was a doctor that asked me to focus on something that I wanted to get, something to look forward to.
Right.
And they asked me something about, and again, I don't remember fully, something to fix my mind on something that I wanted
To
goal
work
that I wanted to
towards.
accomplish.
Yeah.
Said, well, I want to get to Beulah. And then Erica, I don't know how old she was.
She was there. She heard it. Well, it was 2015, so
So she sets out and draws the Beulah Tabernacle,
she's 9.
and that was pretty. That was pretty something.
We'll get a
Yeah.
picture of that.
She drew that tabernacle for us, and somehow our DS at the time, HC, got wind of that, and at Beulah one year we were given the Beulah Tabernacle picture.
Painting.
So
And the picture above it was that next summer
of us at
of
Beulah
us
together.
in that same spot.
Nice.
So we got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was quite pivotal for me to pull through that second
Yeah,
transplant,
it was.
because it was pretty close. I almost died 3 times, I think,
At
perhaps,
least.
and it was pretty brutal going through. So that's kind of why I'm not really looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah. So
Really?
you're on the list again.
Been on the list for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
I had a cancerous thing on my kidneys earlier in the summer that the doctors took care of. They're confident that it's dealt with. So they put me back on the transplant list. And
In my first Friday back to school, we got the official word he was back on the transplant list. So just enough to make you.
Which is probably both great news and like
People come up to us and say, "That's great, you're back on the list," and we just look at each other and gulp. You know, we just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know what to say, Neil, to be honest. I know how we're living right now is not, well, I don't want to say not sustainable, because we obviously sustained itself for the last
Sure.
little while, but it's
Yeah.
no fun, man. I want to be back in,
We're on a hamster wheel.
yeah.
It goes round and around and around.
Yeah.
And short of a miracle, this is the only way to get off that hamster wheel.
Right.
As much as I like making pens, and as much as I'm good at making pens, I really want to be in the day-to-day church world again.
Yeah.
And Pastor Jason at Corbett's been nice to throw me a bone, lets me pretend every once in a while. But still, nothing is like being actually in it, what I've trained to do and what I want to do,
Yeah.
and what I'm semi-good at, so.
Yeah.
But I just can't now. My mind is just not there, my body's not there, and just, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's to try to separate the spirit from the body and what one feels, and to try to force the other to not feel.
Yeah.
When, like, my experience is extremely limited, but I've known when my spirit is weak, that my body feels it too.
Yeah.
And I think the reverse is also true. Like, it's not that your faith has abandoned you, but when your body abandons you,
Yeah.
it carries over into every part of your life, right?
Yeah,
You can't
it really
just
does.
isolate it and say,
Mhm.
well, I feel like crap, but I'm still raring to get up and preach, or I'm great to get up and carry my responsibilities around home and do what I can. When your body just isn't there, it isn't there.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true, and it's been, and lots of times it hasn't been there, and I feel bad not doing anything, especially around the house. She's working all day, and so the least I can do is do some things. But some days I can't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
I literally stumble to the chair and sit there.
Yeah. So, Elizabeth, can you talk to the spouses who are watching tonight, listening to this? Not just the ladies, because there's lots of dudes out there with wives who are facing things and suffering, whether it's something physical or emotional, or maybe it's depression or anxiety. Whatever people are suffering with, can you speak to what it's like to be the person who's sort of carrying the ball and the support and the responsible one who's got to make it happen no matter what day it is?
I think I came to a difference of terminology. I've over the years been trying to describe it when people are asked how you're doing. And I think I kind of broke it down into two words. There's tired and there's weary.
Okay.
Tired, you're just physically tired. You just didn't get a good night's sleep. You were up at the hospital all night. You were up, your spouse is tossing and turning. You maybe had to stay up late and fold the laundry or get up early, go to work.
Yeah.
There's tired, but then there's weary, where you're just mentally not able,
Yeah.
it's tiring mentally. It's tiring making the decisions and having the weight on your shoulders. And I've never had to be, and hope I never have to be, a single parent, but there are times I've kind of likened it to that. When he can't help, when he can't do that, you have all the responsibility. But you just have to keep on to that hope, knowing, well, maybe they'll have a good night's sleep tonight and tomorrow will be better. And then you have to find, somebody else pointed out, you have to find one good thing each day to be thankful for. One good thing that has happened. There have been a few others that have gone through similar journeys that we've been able to connect with and talk with. Another fellow that had 2 transplants as well. His wife and I, they were good resources to chat with, and that's the other thing. You have to find somebody else who's in maybe not the exact same situation, but similar, and say, look, how did you do it? How do you,
Yeah. The fellowship of suffering is an awful but
Yeah.
wonderful fraternity
Yeah.
sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
So she reached out to me, and I probably reached out to her a couple of times too, and I said, look, I don't know, how do you do this? You've got kids too. And she said, you just have to make sure you take time for yourself every day, or at least every couple of days, do something for yourself, and try to be thankful and find something good in every day, as hard as that is.
Yeah, I was going to ask when you're tired, that seems like, okay, I just have to catch up on rest or put my
Yeah.
feet up or
Yeah.
go for a walk or whatever. When you're weary, what has worked for you? Gratitude, you said,
Yeah.
which can be tough. It's
Which
not,
can be tough.
Not just a simple thing.
Just
How do you replenish when you're weary?
I find that a lot of times the weary and the tired go together. So if you can take time to replenish physically, the weary, you'll get that extra stamina to, okay, I can do another day. I can, or this is again where God's provided. There's always been somebody to come along and say, hey, I'm praying for you, or hey, can I do something for you, and
You're okay to ask now?
I'm better at it than she is.
he's
really.
It's
he's
just-
better at it than I am.
You're
I'll
doing
just,
it on her behalf, probably, right?
yeah, I'll just do it. I don't want to bother somebody else. I don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little better, but it's still a struggle. But yeah, it's there is a difference. There's tired and there's weary, and there's days you're just both.
How do you pray through crap like this?
I swear quite a lot,
Yeah,
to be honest.
yeah.
Uh,
I like it. I like the honesty.
well, I've read the Psalms.
What are your
Never
favorite words?
the 4-letter variety.
I guess I keep thinking of the scripture where it says he takes your words and, goes to the Father for you because you don't know what to say. There's been a lot of times I don't know what to say. I just know that you're taking what I'm feeling and you've got it.
Yeah, I'm quite serious about that, swearing a lot.
I
Like-
didn't think you weren't.
It sounds crass, and I know all that, but God's big enough. He can handle that. He can sort it all out, right? I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah, we've hollered it out with them before,
Yeah.
lots of times.
cried it out.
Lots of
and-
times. Yeah. Even it's like this week, even still just.
Yeah.
What the freak you doing, man? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Something as simple as finding another load in the dryer and realizing you've got
Yeah.
more laundry to do. You just sit down and you like
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore.
And still, you went out and got your kids a dog. What great people! Look at these two, huh?
We were at the point where
There's got to be some fun and some ridiculous.
there is. We
Joy and
needed to
goofiness in
do
it.
something normal. They needed something that was theirs to get their mind off of everything else that we're doing.
Yeah.
That was the thought process behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They needed something else to concentrate on and look after besides worrying about him all the time.
I have a prediction. That dog, Milo, right?
Yeah.
Milo will, over time, he will spend more time, and he will become Nick's dog.
Oh, he already has.
He'll be the one that loves him the most.
He
too.
will come to his chair and sit there if he's not there.
Yeah.
My neighbors across the road have said the exact same thing that you just said now.
Yeah.
So,
All of
He
us
was the
dads,
one.
we do it.
No,
It's for the
no,
kids.
no, it's for the kids.
I didn't really want him, but
Yeah,
you know, the
I'm at
kids.
school getting a picture on my text of him with the dog sitting there. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, it happened to me too. That's why I.
yeah.
Yeah, we're goofy that way, and they're awesome. They're wonderful. They're annoying
Yes.
as heck, but
Yes.
they're great too.
Mm.
yeah,
They're a gift in their own right some days.
Yeah. It's hard to stay mad at a puppy, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
that's been the hard thing, trying to be normal
Yeah.
in something that's abnormal.
Yeah.
Trying to do life, keep the girls going through things, sports, dance, whatever,
Yeah.
youth group.
Yeah.
And we took up kayaking this summer too, which has been an
Yes.
absolute godsend.
Oh, cool.
It was somebody, I don't know if it was
Something
Mark,
tangible you can
Yeah.
grab onto.
I don't know if it was Mark Brewer said or Dave Drury or somebody that said that the best therapy is sitting on a kayak. I think it's quite true.
I had originally planned it as something for the girls and I to do this summer, knowing we couldn't go anywhere
Yeah.
because of COVID, but because of him.
Yeah.
We couldn't take off and go too far from home. So I had originally planned on only getting 3, and then he went and sat in one, and
I loved it.
we went and got a 4.
That's
Loved it.
awesome.
But yeah, we've done a lot of kayaking.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe some things can't be prayed through or prayed away, but they can be rode through or sat through, like looking out over the water. There's something about
Yeah.
Yeah.
God's creation and it being out in the water that is,
Lets you forget everything else for a while.
yeah.
Pretty incredible. Yeah.
I don't know how he does that, but we have often said when we're stressed, even it's just like, you know, it's time to go find the ocean, or it's time to go find a waterfall or something,
Yeah.
and just stare at it for a while,
Yeah.
or paddle around a bit, and
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's pretty easy and pretty normal. Speaking of being normal people, it'd be normal of you guys to probably place some of the blame on God, or maybe on others, maybe on a doctor who didn't come through for you, or you got bad information about the transplant. How have you handled that? Has that been a challenge for you? Has that?
So
Are you as normal as the rest of us?
I have no complaints about that at all. It's just why a third one? That's my biggest. And I guess whether you can say I'm not mad at God. I'm just wondering why.
It's hard seeing only one piece of a puzzle and not seeing what that puzzle's supposed to be.
Right. Yeah, you don't even have the cover of the box.
No.
Right?
No.
If we do, it's upside down and backwards, and it's not.
Yeah. the dog
Sometimes
chewed
I
it
think
up.
the rest of the
True.
puzzle's upside down too, and we're
Yeah.
putting it together upside down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well, what's a good day look like? I think we stopped out with what does a bad day look like, or a normal day look like. What's a great day for you guys?
warm, sunny, kayaking.
Kayaking, yeah. I suppose.
I'd say that. Yeah.
Nick's getting ready to preach on Sunday somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
love it.
I that's the thing that fires me up the most is finding some place to go and preach.
Yeah.
That's my wheelhouse.
Well, I'll make another prediction. I would say, well, I think this preaches in a way that maybe some sermons can't, because I never heard you say in any of your sermons that you swear at God a lot, so we relate to that.
True.
But I'll make a prediction that you'll probably be back at Woodstock Wesleyan sometime to speak. So I'll just go out on a limb.
You know a guy there, do you?
I know a guy. We like having you.
Thanks.
And I agree. You're able to communicate, and we would never want to see you. We don't want to see you going through this, both of you. But I think it's like getting a testimony. Everybody loves a great testimony, you know. And I think people will love this, what you guys are sharing tonight, because they'll relate to it so well. But they're a pain in the butt to get, because we only like the testimonies of real hardship
Yeah.
and trial and overcoming. And in some ways, you know, you're overcoming every day, but you're still waiting for the big reveal. Like,
Yeah.
okay, is God gonna do? Is He really gonna do it this time? Is He gonna? Is this gonna be fixed, and we're gonna be turning a corner and going back to what life used to be?
Which I don't even know if we remember that, what it was like anymore, to be honest. But we've just been so, like, in a vortex for so long
Yeah.
that I don't remember what even normal would be. I just don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
Would be nice to be there, I think.
But is anybody normal?
No.
I like how you say I think.
It just, I just like would not to have to worry about the next shoe is going to drop very soon.
Right,
As far as another infection is going to come,
right.
I know that. Past performance dictates future potential, and I've had nothing but infections for the last several years. So
Yeah.
I know that's coming, and I know. Well, I think a transplant is coming.
Right.
I don't know that for certain.
Yeah. Yeah, there really is a lot of walking by faith right now, eh?
Yeah.
Somebody once said, put your plans in pencil. And I guess that's kind of what I've started doing. I'm still old fashioned. I have the phone so that we can share appointments back and forth, but I still have the old day timer so I can see the whole month at a time.
Yeah.
I literally put things in pencil.
Yeah.
Because with us it changes
Yeah.
at a drop of a hat.
Right.
So
You need a bigger eraser than a
yeah, it seems
bigger
like it
pencil, huh?
sometimes.
Yeah.
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 But we just have to be ready, and I and my parents would attest to this. I needed to know what was coming next. I like things scheduled. I like to know, like, getting up at this time tomorrow and I'm gonna do this and then we're gonna do that. That has gone out the window in the
Yeah.
last few years.
I
And
imagine.
I've had to be okay with that.
I take credit for that.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. But he was even getting to be that point like that too.
Yeah.
So we've all had to learn to, be flexible. Not just with our schedule, but be flexible with what he can do for the day. Be flexible with, maybe it's not a good day for one of the girls.
Yeah.
Because they have the bad days just like the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
So being flexible has been a huge lesson.
Maybe that's a start to this answer, but I just thought of, is there anything good in these last 10 years that you can say God has done, or we just have seen good things, and we wouldn't have seen them otherwise without what we're going through?
I'd say a thing that I'm pretty spectacular wise is our house where we live. Working in churches, we've had parsonages all the time. So when I had to resign from my job, the house was
Went with
gone,
You're homeless.
homeless,
Homeless.
literally. Yeah.
2 young girls, homeless, jobless. It was gonna be 8 to 10 months before disability for him had kicked in.
Yeah.
It was a big,
So the Lord provided for us in Maple Ridge for a year. We didn't have to live in a van down by the river, which
Nice.
which is helpful.
because there was a lot of snow that year.
Yeah. And then we've been here 3 summers now in this house, and it's been right in our price point. Just everything. It's been
Yeah.
super, and got fantastic neighbors. And, I'd say our house here has been a pretty big reminder
Cool.
of God's faithfulness.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that to me is, because it's our own house, right? It's ours. It belongs to us. We actually own dirt now.
Yeah.
So well,
That's
the
my
bank
dirt.
owns dirt.
The
but
bank
yeah.
owns dirt.
I
but-
still own it too.
They let
so
you
they
walk
let me
on
stay
it.
here.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else to come to mind? Something good?
I think, as I said before, like, our needs they've just been provided. People don't realize that when they do different things that it's always come at just the right time.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's and sometimes it's showed up and we're like, oh, we didn't even realize we needed that, but yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, I guess hindsight's always 20/20. It showed up and then
Yeah.
hospitalization the very next time.
That
So,
it used to actually scare me when we would get letters in the mail and somebody would tuck a little extra in there for us
Yeah.
saying we've been on their mind, because every time that happened
hospital.
we'd end up having to go to Halifax
You
or
heard
hospital.
the folks. Do not send money.
Send lots of
it was almost to the point where we'd open it up and we're like, oh, here we go again.
Right.
But that was God's way of providing for us, just ahead of it, so that we,
Yeah.
would never have to.
And it's been completely needed all the time too.
Yeah.
It shows up right on time when it's needed.
Yeah.
And it's not something most people would ask.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
if they're in need that way, or
Maybe this is a good place to say this. Have you found anywhere that the Bible says God will not give you more than you can handle?
That's a bunch of.
Is there an edit button on that thing?
I've often said, Lord, I don't know what you think I can handle, but I'm just about there.
You must think I'm amazing because you are pounded on right now. You're are allowing it or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No.
nowhere in the Bible. I've read it a couple of times.
I've heard it quoted a lot though.
Nowhere in there.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I've
heard-
looked.
I hear it often quoted by people, so
I've looked.
yeah,
Hard.
we'll have to do a challenge, see if anyone else can find it for you.
Yeah, please do let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally not there.
We I don't know how you wrap this up, but maybe what would you say to people tonight? You've said a lot that's been wonderful and real and just kind of the raw stuff. What would you say to people tonight that are suffering in some way, struggling with sickness or with something that's got them laid aside or stuck in the chair? What words of hope would you offer them to help them keep on keeping on?
From the spouse's perspective, you often have to go back to your wedding vows and sickness and in health. You said them, you meant them then. This makes it hard, but you said them and you meant them, and you have to stick through it.
I would say, I agree with that, of course. I would say find some friends that you can text in an instant.
Yeah.
I got a couple of buddies that you, of course, I just text, and then boom, you make me laugh or something. And then Grand Perry's another one. That goof, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Even Pastor Jay. They've just a few people that are really, really close to me that I can just say, hey, I'm having a pretty crappy day.
Yeah.
And then from the other perspective, I have that as well, but I also have those that I can say, hey, he's not having a good day and I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Can you help?
Yeah.
He doesn't know when I do that.
I do now.
But there have been times that like I can't help him when he's down and out. There's nothing I can do.
Right.
I'm barely keeping things going here. What can I do? What can I say anyway? I'm living it with him. Hey guys, look, we're not having a good day. Can you reach out to him somehow? Can you,
Yeah.
Now he'll question every text he gets, but
I won't remember it.
no,
So don't
he
worry,
won't remember, so.
don't worry about
What was
that.
that thing you said that night about that thing?
Of course,
that
this is on
time?
video, so I
It's
can
on
go back
video,
and take a
you
look
can
at
go
it.
back and see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's just as important, that you have somebody to reach out to for yourself, but that you have those that you can reach out to that can reach out to the spouse as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't remember who said it, but we often think that God's plan A is He will do something for you directly, and His plan B is maybe He'll send somebody along, or someone will call you, or give money if money is needed, or somebody will do something, and we say, well, His plan B is people. But I can't remember who said it. Like, we've got that all wrong. Like, God's plan A is to work through people and to use us all to build each other up. And Ephesians 4, as each part of the body does its work, right? The body is built up and cared for and full of love.
And I have found a lot of times that people want to help
Yes. Yeah.
and they don't know how to help, but a lot of the times you don't know how to tell them to help.
Yeah.
So when you do have that opportunity to ask, or you do know what you need, don't be afraid to ask, because that's what those people are waiting for. I know in the thick of it, I'm like, I don't know what I need. I can't tell you what I need.
Yeah.
If you feel led, whatever you feel you think I need, help.
Yeah.
But when those times do come and you know what you need,
Yeah.
contact those people, because they've asked, they want to help, and they're waiting.
Right.
So you have to be willing to ask. Reminder.
Note to self. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been great. Thanks for being willing to sort of open the book a little bit on your life and the life you didn't want to live, but you're living it. And as an onlooker, it sounds weird to say we're proud of you. I don't know how you do it. I'm sure it's not all pretty, but you do it with grace, both of you, and your girls. I mean, they're just little troopers. They're you know, we're I think I've heard it said we're both raising our kids and preparing them for counseling at the same time.
It's true.
You know,
It's gonna
So-
cost me a lot of money in the future, man.
we're doing it too. We don't have as good an excuse either. But we're cheering you on, and as you approach sort of another unknown, just know that people who are listening tonight, Woodstock Wesleyan, and hopefully far beyond, we're standing with you. We're cheering for you. Some of those people might be the people that shovel out your driveway and at the end of the driveway in the winter. Whatever we can do. Sometimes we'll know, maybe, or have an idea, and sometimes we'll be available when you ask. So we're on your team, and
Thanks.
we love and respect you guys a lot. Thanks for doing this.
You know, I will say, you know, I don't know where we would be if people hadn't prayed for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's been boatloads of people that I don't even know,
Clear across the world.
you know, have
Yeah.
said they're praying for us.
Yeah.
Thanks. What else do you say?
Yeah.
I'm incredibly humbled that somebody would actually pray for us.
Yeah.
I don't know where we'd be. Probably wouldn't be here if that was the case, if people didn't pray for us.
Yeah.
So thanks for praying for us. Really.
Mother Teresa said, "I know God will not give me anything I can't handle. I just wish he didn't trust me so much." I think Nick and Beth's conversation with me echoes that. We don't know what God's doing sometimes. We don't understand why we go through these times, but he is still God. But it does not mean that he can't be asked, what's going on? What in the beep are you doing? I love Nick's and Beth's honesty, and I appreciate their transparency with just the way things really are. And I hope it's been an encouragement to you tonight to be able to see this is how a couple of people and their family are getting through a time of great suffering and great struggle and great uncertainty. A couple things stood out to me as Nick and Beth were talking. Community. A couple of trusted people that you can rely on. Something to look forward to. If you're struggling and you're suffering and you're in pain or you're sick, look further out. We're so prone to look in, and that's all we can see is right now and how bad things are. And Nick, when he talked about having something to look forward to and how the doctor counseled him to do that, that was awesome. I thought that was so practical for us. And as I said earlier, and as Nick said so clearly, don't be afraid to let God know how you really feel. I think God's big enough to handle our questions. One of my very wise sisters once said. Maybe you've said that too. God is able to handle your questions. Another thing I really appreciated in Nick and Beth's story was how they talked about how people reached out to them and offered help. And sometimes we just don't know what to do for people who are suffering long term, do we? We just get lost in the weeds of it all. But I just want to encourage you, if you have that prompting in your spirit and just the thoughts in your mind, man, I should do something for so-and-so. Don't wait to have it all figured out. So in my life, I've stopped telling people, if you need anything, let me know. I've just tried to go ahead and do it. So that's my encouragement to you too. As we close tonight, don't forget to share this stream, and you're going to be entered for a chance to win one of the pens that Nick made. This is like a $35 to $40 or $50 value. This isn't a 99-cent package of Bic pens that you're getting at the dollar store. This is a really cool pen, so I'm excited to give that away to one of you tonight. As we close, I want to read what God did promise to us, though, from Isaiah chapter 43, and this is the New Living Translation. But now, O Israel, the Lord who created you says, do not be afraid, for I have ransomed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you go through deep waters and great trouble, I will be with you. When you go through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. When you walk through the fire of oppression, you will not be burned up. The flames will not consume you. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. We don't have a lot of things in life that are certain, but this one is certain. God will be with you in your struggle. Psalm 34:18 says, he's near to the brokenhearted. If that's you tonight, I encourage you to draw near. If you need support tonight, I'd encourage you to reach out to us. Give us a call, 328-3263 at Woodstock Wesleyan Church, or shoot us an email at care@woodstockwesleyan.org. Stay tuned for the giveaway after tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about next week as well. Next week, I'm going to be joined by some veterans in the marriage world. Jay and Sharon Guptill have been married for over 30 years, and they've raised 5 boys, and now they have grandbabies and all that kind of awesome stuff. And they're going to share with us some wisdom that they've learned over these last 30 years and that they're still learning today during the pandemic. So I hope you'll join us. Share this broadcast. Stick around for a couple minutes after. I'm going to do the draw, and this has been so fun. Thanks for joining us again this week, and we'll see you next week.